perfect Course in Miracles response for her. Really, I told her she should be counseling.
Who did?
As we all should. Karen.
Oh, Karen, because
Oh, Karen, yeah.
uh,
Oh, I
right.
love Karen. Are you kidding? She's the best. I mean, you know what I love? Because everybody cares about everyone, and that's just important to me.
All right. So welcome to Tuesday Morning with Friends. Our friend Myrna is not able to be with us right now, but we got Dove and we've got a whole bunch of other great people here in the room to share. And so, Dove Fishman, this mic is all yours.
hi everybody, and thanks for joining us here. And Myrna arrives to be part of the group, but we have a pretty good group right here, right now, and we can just talk about anything that's on your mind. Uh, if I think Karen's going to join us, but I was thinking about something that happened the other night, Sunday night at Laurie's. One of the people had complained that their neighbor upstairs was walking across the floor and stomping their feet, and she couldn't take the noise, and she doesn't know. And she talked to these people. She even bought them a bottle of champagne at one point. She doesn't know if she should fight or flight, which is to move to another place. And Karen, who was in the room, and she doesn't really know Victoria. I do. I've known her for 4 or 5 years. I used to counsel her, and Laurie knows her, and she sees this abuse as very terrible against her. And both Laurie and I reminded her that her father abused her. And now I don't mean abuse her physically. She didn't feel he paid attention to her, that he didn't really love her, maybe, and she has other sisters. And I don't know if the other sisters have the same complaint, but this isn't the first time that Victoria moved. A couple of years ago, she was in a different place, and there was a next door neighbor who had parties at all hours of the night, and she couldn't stand it, so she moved, and now she finds the same thing all over again. And Karen said to her, you ought to look at, that this is a lesson you came here to learn. And if you move, which some of the people in the group said, yeah, why don't you move? If you move, it's going to probably happen all over again. I just put that out as, one, like some of the things that we talk about in course group. Are there any thoughts?
Yeah, what you do is you get a broom, and when you think that they're sleeping, you take that broom handle and you bang on the ceiling. Bang, 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 bang. Just like that. And they'll get the picture. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
My husband and I, when we started to go out, we had an apartment, and he would have such a hard time with the people upstairs because they made noise, and it didn't bother me because he's a noise phobe, I tell him. But so I just, we dealt with it, but they ended up moving out because he was complaining. So I don't know. It didn't bother me at all. I don't know that I need quiet all the time. I think my conditioning is being an art teacher, you're always in noise, especially if you teach children. They call your name every minute.
As long as you're at the effect of something outside of you, you're always going to be a victim because you think there's something outside of you can actually hurt you or harm you or take away your peace. None of that's true. As he says, beware of the temptations to perceive yourself as a victim, because we're not victims. That's what forgiveness is all about. I'm doing this to myself. Mikhail?
I was just going to say that, it's the fact that it happened to her again in another apartment it's a classroom. So it's something looking at her that she's getting irritated. But in my youth, I had lived in an apartment on the bottom floor, and the bathroom was above my bedroom, and I could hear the people going number one and I knew when they were going number two and hear the toilet flush. And I just said it's time for me to move. This is a little too personal. So, you know, we all have different levels. And if she were to look at it just as a classroom, and, you know, Dr. Shookman wrote the course and was able to hear the voices, you know, in the midst of the city. So she was able to come to that quiet even in the midst of turmoil all around her. So we just have to carry that quiet, and it's a process of undoing. So when that comes up, it's undoing the obstacles to the block to your awareness of the presence of love, really. So that's what it's really about, is it's an undoing process with her. And if you don't like it, then move.
You know,
That's-
usually the ego screams, I can't sleep, I can't sleep. That's probably what got her upset, right? Because when you have noise, the mind just goes crazy, right? So
Right.
we all know we're not in control of the mind. So that's just happening by itself, but it is a lesson if it keeps happening.
I think Glorian's hand is up, and then welcome, Karen. We're actually talking about the other night when I thought you perfectly recognized what was going on with Victoria when she was talking about the upstairs person walking and making noise and she wanted to move. Glorian, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And you know, what's coming to me is that we're always looking at our own projected guilt, our judgments, and our unforgiveness. So if we move, we're taking that unhealed mind with us, and the same judgments and the same fear and the same, you know, lack of forgiveness is still going to be projected out there. It may be our guidance to go to a different location, but the question always is like, what does this mean for me? What is it showing me? And how can I look at it differently? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Glorian. Yes. And Audrey, I didn't mean to leave you out. Somehow when I saw the love of God, I was thinking it was Regis or something like that. Now I realize it's Audrey. Go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, I was listening on the radio, so I love what everybody shared, and I agree with what everybody shared. And what I did tell her, I told her a couple things, Dove. First, I told her that if she brought up that it was from her, you know, it reminded her of her childhood with her father, and that was coming up for her. So I said to her, you know, what the course basically says, trials are but lessons. So it's something that has to be healed inside of her. And it's always about, you know, which teacher am I listening to? And it's not nothing in the world. I said, you were a child then. This is what I told her. I said, you were a child then. And I said, you had no control, but now you're an adult and you have more control and you have the tools of the course. So you can choose to see this differently. Pretty much what Glorian just said. And she really wasn't really receptive to that. I think she really in her mind, she thinks that moving is the best thing for her. So at the end of you know, because we went on for an hour, Dove, with that. Remember, that was like a whole hour, the first hour. And then Lori said, let's go on to something else if everyone's done. And before we went on to something else, I just said to Nicole, I said, Nicole, I said, if you're at peace with moving, if that brings you peace and you're at peace with that decision, then you should move. I said, you know, listening to all of us really doesn't, it sometimes it can be helpful and sometimes it's not helpful. Sometimes we have to listen to our inner guide. And if your inner guide is telling you to move and you're at peace with that decision, then that's what you should do. And she sounded like that's what she wanted to do. So I can't judge her decision and I don't know what it's for. So I just have to trust that she has to, you know, her inner guide is telling her what to do. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, excellent, Karen, because you handle it.
Where was this? Was this Monday? Is that what you're talking about? The Monday?
It was on Sunday night at Laurie Coburn's Sunday night.
Oh, I used to go to that. Yeah. I was thinking this past I would have gone. Yeah. Oh, that's where it was. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
Gloria, go ahead.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you shared, Karen, because it doesn't really matter whether she moves or she doesn't move. It's what matters is the change of mind. And Jesus tells us that, you know, where you've made a faulty choice, another will present itself. So if we look at that and recognize that, you know, you can never really be in denial or do the wrong thing, because it'll come back up until you actually do forgive it. And I like also what you said about all opinions. All opinions are always coming from the past. And if we could recognize that and say, well, gee, whatever is going on here is showing me what I think based upon my story and my past. So we want to get to that place where we catch it and we make that space and we ask, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently, and allow something else to be placed on the judgments and the interference that we've placed upon the world. Thanks.
Very good, Gloria. Thank you so much. I don't know how many people are familiar with the fact that Helen Schuckman went through the exact same problem with someone walking with high heels on the floor above. And I didn't read Absence of Felicity. I know that Lynn is reading it now with Bruce. But on the other hand, I hear it from Ken Wapnick about a dozen times because I listen to him that often. But she actually had a person upstairs walking in high heels, and she thought in her mind that there was a wire, an audio wire attached from her shoes, her high heels, to Helen's head. And she actually thought that this is true. And then her solution was she took a pair of scissors and she cut the cords, and she was okay. But somehow she connected the sound was directed to her. And it wasn't. It wasn't. And when she cut the cord, it didn't bother her. I mean, and my thought on what's going on with Victoria is she is in resistance. And the opposite of resistance is my favorite word, acceptance. And I said to her, you know, what is it you can't accept if you but knew that everything that seems to happen to you, all events, past, present, are gently planned for you by one whose only purpose is your good. And she didn't really want to buy that at all. But I mentioned, like, I have a railroad going right by my house, and when it comes by, you can't even talk. I mean, you can't even hear. I should say you can talk, but you can't hear. So she said, "Yeah, I have a railroad going by my house too, and I like the clickety clickety." And by the way, this isn't clickety click. These D's go. All right. I just wanted to add that as a couple of extra looks at the same thing. Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about, share on, anything that anyone wants to work on?
I have a train that goes by here, Dub. When I first moved here, I thought it was so loud I couldn't even hear the TV, and I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it. But then after a while, I just got used to it. Now the same train, the same noise, and I just, you know, it doesn't bother me. I tune it out now, but it took me a while to do that. So it's something that we can do. But I think when we have unhealed guilt or unhealed pain from trauma, which she was abused, that abuse when that comes again in another form. Like, I really think it's something that needs to be healed inside of her. And I think that it's going to keep showing up until it's healed. You know, I don't know how she sees that, if but she's the one that actually brought up her father. So I think that was very, very significant. And I think it could be very helpful to her if she really looked at how they're related and how she could heal that in her mind.
Yeah.
You know,
Actually,
giving it over.
I mean, for you to accept that train, so now you don't even hear it, it's called acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same here. People come to us for the first time and they hear the noise. How can you live with that? And I don't even hear it, truly.
Me
In
too.
fact, train coming through now. I don't even hear it. I really don't.
And that's great if we could just transfer that into everything in our life that seems to bother us, you know, just, you know, give it over, ask to see another way, understand that it's only temporary, and, because there's still things that I allow to bother me. I have to admit, there's still things that I allow to bother me that I'm still working on. So, using that in every situation can be very helpful.
I'm glad, Mikhail, go ahead. Go ahead, Mikhail.
Oh, I was just saying, I love what Karen said too, asking what is this for? So that's a big one because it's the questioning. So then you're able to step back and look at it. So thank you.
That's right on. In fact, I was going to bring up in the last couple of days, we've been reading, like yesterday, we were reading from Justice for God. We have a 2:00 Zoom session every Monday. And there it was a question of loss. But if you think you can lose something in this world, whatever it is that you think you can lose has no real value to you, because and it gets back to meaning and purpose. If your purpose is to heal your mind and remember truth, then everything else in this world is going to be easy. But if your purpose is to survive and do better, have a better place where I have more peace, now that's the ego's purpose and meaning for you. Notice the first 12, 14 lessons. It's all about nothing I see here means anything. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world, and a meaningless world engenders fear. But God does not create meaningless worlds. So if you look at anything that seems to bother you, you look at, are you valuing something that has no value whatsoever? And that's lesson 133. I won't value what's valueless. What's valuable belongs to me. Now, if she values the inner peace, the love that her Heavenly Father gives her, she will not be thinking of her next door neighbor. That's just the way I see it. Are there any thoughts? All right. Is there any other topic anyone wants?
I mean, you have to remain consistent. That's the whole point. Because like there are things that will bother me too. Now, one of the things that what I do sometimes is I take the past and bring it here. Like I'll say, well, I still get upset. Meanwhile, I'm not upset now. So why do I even go there? But I do that. I don't know if I do that just to reassure myself and not have an expectation. But I think the woman was probably just annoyed, and you don't know what else is underneath all that. There's so much of, the ego has layers, and we have to be kind to ourselves. Some of these layers are just surprising. When they come up, I had a layer come up last week with my husband, and it was just so weird because I saw after the fact that it was coming up from my past, of course. And it was triggering me from my ex-husband because there's stuff that's still in there. But it took a while for me to sort that out. So, and the stuff was just about money because, that's a big thing with couples. And he has like no needs when it comes down to it, except the regular needs. And I'm a woman. I have, I get stuff sometimes. And he's a little bit, he's very gentle, but he's always nervous that he's not going to have enough money. And he's not doing this process. So I can't say to him, well, you don't really need that much money, because life taught me you really don't need a lot of money. I had nothing when I was in South Puna. I lost everything, and things did work out, but some people are more upset. So, but I still took responsibility because it was me getting mad from the past. And that's what I had to look at. So,
Jesus says in the introduction to the course, I can sum up this whole course in 3 lines. The first line is, what's real can't be threatened. Now, you can substitute the word lost for that too. What's real can't be lost. Now, yesterday in our reading, he was talking about if you win something at the expense of someone else losing it, you can be sure that you're operating in the dream, the ego's dream world, where where we practice, I win, you lose, I'm right, you're wrong. And in the course, he says, if you think your brother is wrong for anything, you're killing him off. As Karen, there's a topic in the course, kill or be killed. I mean, there's no accident that Jesus calls this world a slaughterhouse. Because if you judge anybody, you have already slaughtered them. Judgment is the same as killing or murder, which is why only judgment hurts us. Lesson 198. Only my condemnation, only my judgment hurts me. Only my forgiveness sets me free. Are there any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love what Sharon shared and what you just shared, Dove, about the past. And what I love that always comes to my mind is in chapter 15, section 5, the holy instant and special relationships. In the very first paragraph, he says, the holy instant is the Holy Spirit's most useful learning device for teaching you love's meaning. For its purpose is to suspend judgment entirely. Judgment always rests on the past, for past experience is the basis on which you judge. Judgment becomes impossible without the past, for without it, you do not understand anything. You would make no attempt to judge because it would be quite apparent to you that you do not understand what anything means. Lesson 1, right? I don't know what anything is for. Lesson 25. You are afraid of this because you believe that without the ego, all would be chaos. Yet I assure you that without the ego, all would be love. Now, I just love that because I think that we all, just like Sharon said, we do that. And I think that when I did it for years. I brought the past into the present. And, I think that for me, it has a lot to do with remembering my worth. My worth, when it comes to what you were sharing, Dove, about, staying in the present moment is everything, but also about, what we were talking about on Monday, one or the other. And, if I have more, you have less. And, the course is teaching us that we are equal. If I have less, you have less. If I have more, you have more. It can't be any other way, and if it is, then if I feel like I'm not having enough or getting enough, then I'm not remembering that my worth is established by God. I think my worth has something to do with something valueless. And that has been my experience. And that's what I'm learning by letting go of those unworthy thoughts and knowing that I am worth it. That I don't need anything outside of me to make me whole, perfect, whole, and complete, because I already am.
That's perfect sharing and teaching. Sharon, your hands up, and now I want to share on that. Go ahead.
I was listening to Brent Haskell's book with Kelly Love, and he was just stating that we believe that every moment carries on to the next moment. And that's not what I was hearing. I was hearing that every moment is fresh from Kelly Love's book, that you don't need to take anything. I like to remind myself of the things that I failed at. That's ridiculous because I'm not even that. I'm not the person. The person is a thought. So why even go there? I think it's better to just realize you're the witness and laugh at yourself. It's, what Kelly Love was stating is that, honestly, if you're an ego, you think that every look what happened yesterday or what happened an hour ago. And then we get mad at people when in fact we're new people each time. So that's all.
Very good. Okay.
We're not even people, we're new mind. We have to remember this people thing, we're mind. If we remember we're mind, we're not going to get caught up.
Yeah. True. I want to share what I think is a slightly different way of looking at what's going on here at Gather. I think Gather works very well, mainly because we see each other as equals. And that goes back to what Karen says, either we all gain or we don't gain. It's in the course is a line that says all together or not at all. But there's no accident that Gather turned out this way. I'm going to say a few words about the seeds that started Gather. Started literally back in 1982. I was asked to lead a group. I was in John Mundy's house New Year's Eve 1980, and someone said, why don't we start a Course of Miracles group in my home in Greenwich Village? And David, why don't you lead it? And my mind said, what are you crazy? I can't. My mind said to me, I can't do that. I'm only halfway through the lesson. I never opened the textbook, and I don't know even what the course is saying other than the lessons. But out of my mouth came, okay, I'll do it. And I know that was Holy Spirit speaking through to me and through me, because my ego was saying, you can't do that. Don't say yes. But anyway, for the first 2 years, we had about 20, 25 people that used to gather every Monday for a couple of years. And it got down to people ask me questions like, why do you think he says this? And why is that true? And, thinking that I knew something that they didn't know. Along about two and a half years into this group, somehow it came to me, the only reason people think that I know is that I'm the moderator of the group. So I said, listen, if you want to be in the group, I would like to ask each and every one of you to take your role and place as a moderator. You take your turn, and like maybe once every couple months, you are the moderator. What came out of that is the people that used to ask all the questions, thinking that I knew something that they didn't know, became great teachers on their own. That's when the seeds of ACIM Gather was actually planted, because when the internet opened up, that's pretty much what we did at first. Is exactly what Lynn was saying about Jeff. Jeff was the leader of the group. And then I actually left the group and started a thing called Teachers of God, where everybody actually had to become a teacher if you wanted to be in the room. So you took your turn as a moderator, well, Teachers of God at AOL in 3 years became Pal Talk, and became ACIM Gather, and that was the nature of Gather, is we all took turns as teachers. Now, in the old days, when we were just in Pal Talk, people used to talk across the room to each other, because everything was in print. So you said, I don't like that, I like that, I don't like that. But as it happens in this Zoom session, you notice that we are really one. We are really one, and we don't have any crosstalk anymore. The person who hated crosstalk the most was Lenny Cohen. And Lenny, and Lenny, he said, if anyone crosstalks, I'm kicking them out of the room. But I just wanted to say that we have become a very harmonious family of equals. We see each other as equal. It doesn't matter where you are in the course, you are one with all.
Were you talking about Lenny Rose or Lenny? You said Lenny something else.
Lenny Rose, yes.
Okay, yeah, because Lenny was on this tape too. Yeah, I was laughing.
Lenny Rose, I'm sorry. Even Lynn was laughing. It was Lenny Rose. It wasn't Lenny Cohen. It wasn't a relation of Michael Cohen.
He yelled at everybody because he liked when people would flush up his shit. You know what I mean? He wanted to get rid of it. So he would just say, okay, and he would yell at everybody. But he really wasn't a spiritual practice. He was flushing up all his garbage. And I think he used it in a good way.
He was one of the great teachers in this room. The way I feel about that, I remember just about the day before he passed, Lynn had him speaking, and he knew he was about to leave. He knew it. And he spoke in such wonderful terms about the peace and the love. And to tell you the truth, I can only hope on my last day I could say the exact same thing. He was really a great teacher.
He amazed us. He amazed us because Gary was dying, and he had this. He kept telling me that he told the nurses and doctors how excited he was.
Yeah.
And not because he's upset, but because, well, first of all, he was a course student, and he was excited about that, just being with God, back with God completely. The other thing was he did a lot of what's his name? Bashir, I don't know, but something or other. He was listening
Bashar.
to Bashar and he loved Bashar and he said, listen, I'll see you on the other side, Sharon. That's what he used to say. But he was quite the character. Would have
Yeah, that
loved
was
this.
great.
Yeah,
He
this
just texted me that one day. He just texted me, uh, call me now. Call me now. And I called him right then and got him on my phone on Pal Talk. And I did record it, and I cannot find that recording anywhere in any of my archives. I cannot find that recording. And I know I sent it out to people, but I don't know. I guess I'm not supposed to have it right now. But yeah, he spoke on that last day. He was so joyful. He was so joyful and was just at such peace and excited because he knew he was going to be gone out of this world soon. And sure enough, like that was in the uh, kind of midday, and at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, the next day he passed.
I always,
And it was amazing.
yeah, but as you're speaking about it, it sounds exactly like Bill Tedford. The last day, he was, exuberant.
Yeah. Yes.
Lynn, are you saying you can't find that recording of his last teaching?
Yeah,
Oh,
I,
wow.
and it's so weird because I sent it out to so many people, and I was going to make CDs of it and send them out. I bought the CDs to do it and never did a one because something went wrong with my computer. And so that completely, it's only here in our minds, but
If you
I
really,
remember it well.
yeah, if you really want that, you will get that.
I
you're
think you're
supposed
right, Karen.
You will get that. And it would be wonderful to hear that. I didn't know the man, but that sounds, I think anyone who is getting ready to exit, and I remember, I didn't know Bill and I didn't know Lenny, but I remember the story of Bill when he died, how joyful he was. And that, I think that anyone that knows has that peace about him because they recognize that there is nothing here in this world. They really recognize that this world holds nothing that I want. They recognize when they know the truth that this is eternal, they're going to be at each, they can be at peace now, but they know that they know they're going to a wonderful place, even though they're in a wonderful place in their mind, it's going to continue. I don't know. I never experienced it, but I can just imagine what it feels like.
Yeah, actually, in lesson 132, I read it yesterday. It says, there is no world. Some people have to come back many times to realize it, but some people realize it at their time of death, and they come back and teach it. So we know the Lenny's coming back to teach it.
and in a different form.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
wonderful.
Karen, you would have loved it because he used to make fun of me all the time. Like he would always pick on me because I always would laugh, about because I don't know. He was just
Student. Okay. Yeah, I was so pissed off. I mean, I hate when that happens.
hello, Myrna.
I'm so glad. I figured this is going to be an all-day affair, and then sometimes it can go for a couple of days. I've experienced that too. It's no fun. Anyway, I'm back
Oh,
quickly.
hi, Myrna. Hi, Myrna. Join us.
I will. Oh yeah, I'm happy to join you. I really am. I missed you, actually. Hi, Karen. Hi, Sharon.
Hi,
Hi.
Myrna.
Hi,
Oh
Myrna.
my God! Listen. I think I found Lenny Cohen's final teaching, 1 hour.
Lenny Rose, not Lenny.
Oh well, I wrote it wrong. Lenny Rose's final teaching. God bless. I found it in Dropbox.
Oh my God, send it over.
Wow, that is so cool.
Well, it's a gift
let me
for
see.
Karen. Karen said something.
Wait, let's see. I'm going to send it to a male recipient. Hold on. So the male recipient will be. It doesn't come up that way. I don't know.
Can you post it on, can you
First, let me play it to see that it's correct.
just do copy the Dropbox link and put it in my messenger on Facebook?
Wait, oh God. Now it's saying, oh wait. It says Lenny Cohen, final teaching, God bless, 1 hour. Size is 27.2 megs. I'm trying to send it to,
Don't try to send it. Copy the Dropbox link. Right click on the Dropbox and it will say copy Dropbox link. Copy that link and post it in my Facebook Messenger.
hold on. This doesn't look like a normal Dropbox. Well, first of all, I didn't record it. You sent it to me. So it looks a little bit different. Let me just see if I can copy it and post it in the room. Okay, there it is in the room.
Great.
But it's on my C drive. You see it? Do you see it or no?
If it's not in your Dropbox?
You read it. It says documents, Dropbox, Dove Fishman, Lenny Cohen.
Okay, where did you post it?
In the room.
Oh, in Pal Talk. Oh, okay. All right. Let me see.
Does it show?
Oh, I think it might be in your C drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is C drive, yes.
Yeah, it's not in your Dropbox.
All right, so then I have to go to my C drive to find it.
Yeah.
But if it's there, we will get it. Exactly,
Yay.
exactly like Karen says. If you want it, it'll come.
That's
I
awesome.
love it. That
I
is
love it. I
awesome.
love it. I want to ask Myrna a question. Myrna.
Yeah.
So we were talking about, keeping our peace no matter what happens and all that kind of stuff. How did you do when your internet didn't work? Were you able to keep your peace?
Good question. It's a really good question. Was I able to keep my peace? I tell you the truth, I have to be very honest with you. I was upset. I really was, because here I'm visualizing what it would be like to be without internet service for a couple of days, which I had to sustain previously. And here my mind, was sort of running away with me, and I'm sort of, ahead of myself. So that was a very good question. I didn't even think about that until you asked me. So, yeah. Thanks.
We don't
But
realize.
I'll tell you one thing, and this is the truth. If I was upset and I spoke to somebody like you, maybe Lynn, maybe Dove, I could have been brought back a little bit. I think I could have been brought back to center again. Sometimes I just need a sounding board, So, yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing it, because I think it's in all day, every day. It's something that we have to practice and really work on, because we can lose our peace when something doesn't seem to go our way.
Listen.
That was a good question. That was a good test for me.
Yeah, I should have talked to you, Myrna. I just, you called right in the middle of our other program when I was.
know. Well, you know what? I couldn't really hear you very well anyway. You were muffled, sort of, so
Oh, okay.
anyway, so
I'm sorry about that.
when I spoke to you, but I called you, I wasn't getting a clear connection. Anyway.
Yeah, you sounded very upset, and I was, I was
Yeah.
like, oh man,
Yeah.
I thought something had happened. So, and it had. This is what happens when our communication link is broken. We become upset.
Yeah.
So
And
True.
we
Anyway.
live it over and over again, don't we? We live it over and over again because it's the moment
absolutely.
that we made that tiny mad idea.
All right, here I'm going to put a picture of Lenny for we can all see. He's with Lisa Trevino. Lenny Rose.
He looks like a fun guy.
Really, yeah. He definitely he was an actor. He was in movies and TV and stuff. Not, big star, but
He was on Seinfeld. He was on Seinfeld.
yeah, he was on a Seinfeld. Yeah. Yeah. And
I wouldn't go out with him when he was single, and I just knew we would fight, and I was too early in the course. And he was like, I don't know. I guess I wanted to get away from
You know how he was with me. He wasn't he wasn't always easy, you know. Sharon, are you listening?
You know, he did the same thing to me, Sharon.
Yeah.
I've got on recording of him and he's yelling at me. You didn't even hear what I said, did you? If you heard what I said, just write it in the room. And I'm like, no, you're right, Lenny. I was
Love
not
that. It was
listening.
fun. It was just fun.
But,
I think Kaylee has her hand up.
oh, good. Hi, Mickey.
Hi, I just want to say, I always go to Murphy's Law. So with Myrna, what happened on your computer, things happen. Last week on Monday, before I left for my nursing job, I sent the car registration I paid for my youngest son for 2 years, and he got a Arizona ID. So I sent it priority mail so that it would get to him before the tags expired on the car. And I labeled it correctly, Myrna, and it went all the way to Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, aw, yeah.
I mean, I have to laugh. It's so funny. And so I realized it's a classroom and I've got everything is perfect just the way it is, which Karen always says, which I love. And so I had to call United States Postal Service and talk to the supervisor, and they found it. And they said, oh, it doesn't have an address on it from what they can see. And I'm like, well, I remember writing an address. So they took my son's address and it ended up getting there yesterday. Everything was perfect. It wasn't open. There's no identity theft. He got the car tags on there. So I said, well, Dakota, take a picture of the top of the envelope so I can see how it's addressed. Well, the address is there. So Murphy's Law, it happened and it was my classroom, and I made I had the supervisors on the Postal Service laughing that it went to Des Moines, Iowa. And then this morning I woke up and I saw the beauty in it. And I said, well, one of my teachers from the course, Tara Singh, he died in Iowa. I said, I'm going to take his book out. I'm going to take his book out and start reading one of his books. So, you have to laugh at everything, Murphy's Law. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Know what? Yeah, it could have been a gift. That's what I would have done too. I love that.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that, but look how things are really resolved. I mean, maybe because we are Course in Miracles students, recognizing that we're in a funk when we really don't need to be. We see that, we do see it. And that, I mean, look how quickly this problem was resolved for me. And your problem was resolved too, Michaela, with the the mail and all that. It does get resolved. And I just think that even if when shit happens, we come back, we're centered correctly again once we realize that, look, this was an example. I didn't need to get upset. And maybe it'll sort of work next time, if something happens. We might kind of take a step back and maybe work on it. But when it's happening, you don't think about it.
That's so true. What comes to me is what I love, and it's in chapter 3, section 2, that if nothing but the truth exists, right-minded seeing cannot see anything but perfection. So when we can, I can remember that, and that's what I really think about all the time, because when McKaylee said this is a classroom, I agree 100%. This is a classroom to learn the lessons we came to learn. And one of those lessons for me is patience. Patience is a very big lesson for me. And when I can see everything is perfect, that it's happening for me, not to me, and this is to teach me something. Okay, so my computer's not working now. I can really get pissed off and upset and frustrated and wish something was different, or I could just say, okay, what am I supposed to learn here? This is happening for me. This is perfect. What is the lesson? And for me, it's usually patience. It's usually patience, because I have not had patience for quite a while with my recovery. And before that, it was something else. So I see the pattern, and I see that it's really something that I'm working on, and it's presented to me. And when it's presented to me, I notice it, and it's getting better.
Right, right. And it's patience, but also the knowledge that it will be okay. That it will be okay if we can sort of just, just concentrate on that, then it is easier to kind of come back to your, peace again. When like what I was thinking is that it wasn't going to be resolved. That I was going to now, what am I going to do tonight? Well, I was going to go over to my boyfriend's house. I already complained to him, and he said, "Well, so I did have a way out." but but we're okay. We're good to go now. So I'm happy again.
One thing I just want to say, it's so funny because what the course is teaching me that, okay, what you said, and that's why I think about Regis. Regis says, think about what you're thinking about and think about what I'm saying, because when I say it's going to be okay, it's already okay.
Right.
It's okay. It's perfect. It's happening perfectly. And that's the mindset. That's for me. I know it's not easy when we're in it. I know it's not easy when that's the practice for me, saying that it's perfect now. It's okay. It's perfect now. It's not going to be okay. It's okay now because this is happening perfectly for me, or I'm making a choice to be upset. And that's what I'm noticing. It's the world. The world is just my projection. And this is becoming clearer and clearer. And it's not always easy. Every problem is, there's certain things that bother me more than others, but it's all inclusive. I can practice that in every situation. So I just try to look at that way, and it's really helpful.
Yeah, it is. I was going to say something. I lost my train of thought, but I can tell you this. I was talking about this yesterday with Susan. Susan Michelle, we had our talk yesterday on Zoom, and something had happened during the week last week that really I considered was a bit of an awakening, or something really happened that helped me to really be, it was something significant, let's put it this way. And that was that I felt what the illusion was. In other words, I always sort of didn't understand, the Course in Miracles talks about the illusion, and we're living in, and I would say, how can this really, I would question, really. I don't feel like it's an illusion. I'm saying I'm safe. The Course is telling me I'm safe. God is saying that I'm safe in God. And yet I look at the news and I see people losing their lives. And, how do you reconcile my safety with somebody else's tragedy? But we can't, but I asked Jesus about that point blank. I really want to know more about that. And it came to me in the form of a knowing that I felt that it is yes, we are an illusion, and we're bringing this into our illusion. It's not happening. We're not in their world. We're bringing that world into our own space. And suddenly I saw the fact that we're all really are actors on the stage. Everybody is in my life to play the role they're supposed to play. And that's exactly how, but that came to me in a very significant way. So what happened just now with the internet with me is I forgot. That's what happened. I just forgot. And, and if I had remembered, I would not have gotten upset. And I see that now too. So
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. I mean, that is something that you can bring with you everywhere. And so, yes, you forget, but you remember sooner. Yes, you forgot, and it's normal to forget. We always forget. This is a sleep. What is that? What does he call it? The sleep of forgetfulness. But that's beautiful that you had that awakening. That is awesome. I heard you share about it yesterday, and I love hearing about it again. I think Michaela has her hand up.
Oh,
Michaela?
no, let's see. I gotta lower it. Sorry, Karen. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Murphy's
Okay.
Law. Sorry, I just lowered it.
Audie, did you have your hand up? I thought I saw your hand up.
No, I just gave a heart.
Oh, okay. So I think it's so cute when you talk about your boyfriend, Myrna. I think it's so cute.
yeah.
Myrna, how old is your
Sure.
boyfriend? If you're 83, how old is he?
Cute.
What was that?
How old is your boyfriend?
Oh, he's younger than I am, actually, because I can't go out with older men. I know. No, it's so funny, I met him on Match. Okay, actually, I'm 82 and he's 76, Anyway, and I was talking to this one man, and he sounded very nice, and he said, let's meet for dinner, and I thought that would be nice. And I said, how will I know you? And he said, I have a walker. And it was
Oh,
so I said, no, I can't go out with him, but I didn't tell him that, I hung up and I'm thinking, Arnold, I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but I really resolved it very well. I said, I said, you sound like a very nice man. I said, but I lost my husband. My husband was very ill. He was on a walker for a long time, and I need to sort of stay away from that for a while, so I kind of did it gently. But yeah, the guy that I'm with now, it'll be 3 years in January, actually. So he's really, maybe one day you'll meet him. I'll bring him into the room. Yeah.
I think
Do you
that's
tell him
great.
about the course? Do you tell him about the course, or does he read it?
Oh, yeah. He doesn't, what? He thinks that whatever I do is great. I mean, in other words, I live the course with him, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And he is such a kind soul, yeah, does he know any of this? Does he really understand it? No. But, it's so funny when I speak about spirituality to people, and they'll say, well, I'm not spiritual. And I very often say, yes, you are. You don't even know it. You're a very kind person, and you are spiritual. So people like to hear that, oh, really? Oh, and that's really how I see him. He always does the right thing. And so that's good enough for me. And I live the course because I don't get upset. We never argue, never. It's wonderful, in that respect. And maybe because we're not living together, which I really would like to keep it that way. We see each other often, and I really like the setup the way it is. So, yeah.
Kindness is everything. Kindness is everything. Last night, Glorian had a meeting, and they were talking about how do you welcome the Holy Spirit? How do you invite the Holy Spirit? And my one way was the right-mindedness, knowing that everything is perfect and seeing only perfection. But the other way, I didn't share, but I thought about it, and I forgot to share because I just had so many things going through my mind, whatever, but is kindness. Kindness, being kind is a reflection of the Holy Spirit. It's being kind. I think that is the greatest quality anyone can have. And I just want to say, when I was laughing, when you said he had a wheelchair, I wasn't laughing that he had a wheelchair because or a walker. I wasn't laughing at that. I was just laughing because I think it's awesome that you know what you want. You know what you want, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's perfect. And I definitely was not laughing that he had a walker. So I just wanted to make that clear. I had a walker about
everything. In the meantime, I want to ask you, you look like you're doing great. You went through the surgery, and it was really something to come through, and look at you. I mean, you are so perfect. You're laughing, talking, and how are you dealing with it? I'm curious.
Well, it's okay. I'm on my 2nd month. Actually, I was supposed to go to the doctor today, and I had my days mixed up. So I'm going on Thursday for my 2-month appointment. It's coming along. I just switched over from the walker to the cane. So I'm on a cane now. I can't walk yet on my own perfectly, and I don't feel like I can walk perfectly on the cane, but I am walking on the cane. This is a process. I mean, this is going to take a while. I'm just going to try to accept it. And this is where my classroom is right now, because patience with myself, learning to accept where I'm at. Because today I was doing a lot of errands with a friend, and I was grateful for the help, but it slows me down. I got the cane, so I have to I went to like 3 different places, and it took a lot out of me. And walking slower, walking with cane. And I noticed I looked in the mirror at myself in this one store, and I looked almost hunched over. I looked at myself and I said, oh my God, I look like I'm 100 years old. Like, that was my perception. It's more of an effort to stand up straight. It's like everything feels right now, but I'm in that process. But I know it's normal. It's all happening the way it should. It's perfect. And I shouldn't judge it, and when I start to judge it, then I start to feel bad, and I start to wish things were different, So that's when I just said, no, it's okay. This is how you're supposed to be right now. Just, talk to the doctor about your concerns on Thursday, and And that's where I'm at with it. But I think overall, I think I'm doing fairly well.
If you're on a cane now, I mean, the surgery was not that long ago. You've already, graduated really. Going from the walker to is a very big thing. I think that's a tremendous, stride that you made. I think that's great. So if you can just be on a cane now, think of how it'll be a few months from now. It can only get better, and especially with the way you think and the way you are. I'm telling you, I see it. I see it clearly.
Yeah. Thank you. I am so ready to heal. I mean, I start physical therapy at the 3rd month. So one more month I can start physical therapy. And I'm so looking forward to that because right now I still have a lot of restrictions. I can't bend, lift, or twist. And that's hard, it's very hard. So I'm still trying. Yesterday I went for a walk outside. It felt so good. My earbuds fell out. One of my earbuds fell out and nobody was around to help me. So I had to bend down and I just, said a little prayer before I did it. I bent as quickly as I could and I got up. So I suffered for it for a little while, but I had to do it. So I'm very, very careful, but there are times when certain things happen. I just say, it's going to be okay. I made a mistake and it's not going to hurt me. I'm not going to believe that it's going to hurt me. So it doesn't hurt me. I just did it quickly, got up, and I'm at the almost 2 months. I don't think anything can hurt me right now. I think it's on its way. I think they just want to keep those restrictions just, because they do.
You know what I recommend? 2 Tylenol. It's extra strength. It's the best. When something hurts, you just pop in 2 Tylenol. It'll take the edge. Really. I swear by that.
Okay. All right. I do have some Tylenol actually.
Take it. I'm telling you, it helps. It will. Anyway.
Thank you, Myrna. I think our time is up. I think it's 12:30.
Yeah, this went so fast.
And I'm so glad you were able to join. I don't know where Doug went.
I got to chat this way. This was wonderful, really.
Great. It was.
Yeah. And I just wanted to clarify one thing quickly. Not that I have anything against older men, but there are older people and older people. You know what I'm saying? So you can, I've met people of 86 years old who are really wonderful. So that's really what I'm getting at. Sometimes
you're a younger, older person. You're so young. You look young, you act young, you feel young. So that would be obvious that you would want to be around someone like-minded.
Yeah, I can't see you with somebody like, hey, shut the door. Get off my lawn.
wait till you read my book. I can't wait till it comes out. It's a love story.
I love it. All right, I'm going to stop.
All right, take care.
Thanks, guys. I love you all so much.
Bye.
And Dove is working on getting the Lenny Rose, which is awesome. I'm just so excited if he can get any part of that recording.
Who's Lenny Rose? I caught the tail end of it.
He was the teacher who was here a long time ago, and he was pretty amazing, and he passed away. So we talked to him the day before he died, and so we had a recording of it. We just couldn't find it, but Dove is maybe finding it. So